Yeah, we have a very exciting panel tonight. My name is Sumit. I'm a founder of a stealth VR startup. It is my third startup. And I'm also a Thai charter member. And I think we have an excellent panel today. It's very rare we get a panel which has guys from so extreme, there's a guy from Google, right, who's spearheading it is spearheading a lot of innovation in the VR space, an entrepreneur, and also venture capitalist. So I will let the panel introduce themselves.
I can go first. Can you guys hear me? All right. My name is Sanjit Dang. I'm an investment director at Intel Capital. For those who are not familiar with Intel Capital, that's the venture capital arm of Intel, the company. We have been doing venture investments for over 20 years. Our primary goal is to expand the ecosystem for Intel and also to create new markets. We mainly invest in software and hardware companies, mostly software, mix of software and hardware sometimes. And virtual reality is one of the areas that we are heavily looking into. We also led the investment in a company called VOKE that Uma will probably tell you more about, and really excited to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Uma Jayaram. I'm COO and also co-founder of a company called VOKE. And what VOKE seeks to do is to bring an end-to-end platform that brings virtual reality experiences of live events, so like sports and concerts. So we have been in the VR space for a long time, and we kind of come from the world of strong engineering roots, come from CAD, bringing CAD models and those engineering VR experiences. And along the way, part of the journey started VOKE. And so essentially what VOKE allows you to do is to have a courtside seat. And so through our platform, through our solutions, whatever is your favorite game, whether it's basketball, soccer. We've not done cricket as yet, even though many on our team are very passionate about cricket. That'll be the next sport, hopefully. But you can have a courtside seat and really have a personalized experience so that whether it be through a VR headset or we also have some other innovative solutions, you can look at exactly what you want to see. And you also have different elements that were even mentioned in the talk earlier. So really, it's all about the experience. And we are able to provide these very innovative, personalized, virtual reality-based experiences of the live event.
Hi, my name is Sanjeev Verma. I'm product manager for 360 and VR videos on YouTube, and I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely, great. Let me start by asking a few questions to the audience, if you don't mind. Right? So VR it's a new thing, right? We all have heard about it. How many of you have experienced it? Quite a few. That's very interesting. How many of you are entrepreneurs who are thinking about doing something in VR? That's good. How many are you from US? Quite a few from outside US. That's great to hear. Okay. So in VR technologies, right, we keep hear, it is almost like a buzzword, right? We hear a lot about it. There's a lot of potentials. It's a big market opportunity, We all hope that, definitely, all right? Let's start by kind of educating ourselves, because when I read a lot of VR news, there's a lot of words which are used, which I sometimes don't understand myself, or it took me time to understand. So I guess one of the panelists, maybe Sanjeev can start with, just educating us on, right? Video 360, immersive VR, volumetric VR. Those are the and video VR, right? Those are the four things we keep hearing. I mean, are they all the same? Are they all different?
Well, so fortunately or unfortunately, at this time, they're all different. This space is very new. People are experimenting and learning. And as they are learning, they're also trying to build this ecosystem, influence others. And so introducing terms that specifically talk about a particular technology. Now, at YouTube, we are looking into specifically video experience in VR space. So we define 360 video, which covers 360 degrees around you horizontally and 180 degree vertically. So that basically the entire globe, the complete, sure.
Yeah. That's a little near.
Sorry, can you hear me okay now? Okay, yeah, okay.
Much better.
All right, so I was talking about what YouTube is doing in VR video space. And we are specifically targeting and working on VR videos. Now, VR videos are videos, 360 videos with depth. And what are 360 videos? 360 videos capture everything around you, full sphere. There are also variations of videos which capture, the way you look, the humans look at about 180 degree in front of you and 180 degree vertical. So there are variations on 360 videos and VR videos. But the key thing here to understand is 360 videos, full sphere of video around you, and VR videos are 360 videos with depth, with 3D thrown in as well.
And then what is the difference between immersive VR and also volumetric VR? Are they buzzwords or?
So to me, VR is immersive.
Okay.
If you look at the storytelling and how the storytelling has evolved over time, from oral tradition to written word, and then to radio and television, and all this technology is trying to bring the viewer closer to the character, closer and more involved. And VR videos are the next step, bringing the immersion, immersing the viewer into the story itself, making them feel as if they are they're immersed in that experience.
Good, thanks. All right, moving on. Let's talk about, I guess, applications now, right? Okay, there's all this technology part of it, right? It's all about the end user experience. I put on a headset, and I'm experiencing any one of these videos, right? So I guess VOKE is trying to do something here in this field, but so why don't you tell a little bit more about VOKE, I guess, right? Just so that we understand. And then, what are the other applications have you seen, which you like, in the marketplace?
I guess, again, in the interest of giving a more broader perspective, I think what I'll do is I'll talk just a little bit about VOKE, but also talk about some of our other experiences in virtual reality. And so what I would like to ground my, just my few sentences that I'm going to say, I want to ground it by saying that in virtual reality, essentially there are two key elements the way we look at it. One is immersion. However you define it, that's a spectrum again. All of these are spectrums, and if you have a very purist and a very, a kind of a rigid determination of what that is, I think end of the day there will always be innovation and there will be things moving. So there is that element of immersion, however you define it. And the other extremely important component is the ability for the user to control what he or she sees. So that user control is another extremely important dimension. So it's kind of, in a way, there are of course other elements, but these are the two key elements. Now the experiences that you offer will have some kind of a, there'll be some gradation between these. So sometimes you'll have a lot of immersion and not so much user control, or you might have a lot of user control, whatever. You have different amounts that go into the experience. And the other key important thing that I wanted to mention is when people talk about virtual reality, is it really something that really does not exist? So it's truly virtual. So there's no way you can actually ever go to that place in reality other than through your VR world? Or is it something that, is there, but you're just bringing an experience in a different way? And so these are all elements. So the beauty of the whole system is in how nuanced it is in all of these different elements that you bring together. And also, really, is virtual reality something that you experience in a VR headset? Or is there something more nuanced to that based on the definitions that I just gave you? So bounded by these kinds of thoughts, and again, having been a professor, also before being an entrepreneur, or along with being an entrepreneur, I always feel that we serve ourselves well if we have these kinds of interesting thought processes before we give, some of our own, I would like to do that for my own solution that, describing the solution that we have. So in that context, when talking about the applications, I'll talk about the two key applications we have worked on. In VOKE, what we have done is it's an end-to-end platform, and so we provide the capture, the production, the distribution, and the mechanism to consume it on the end device. And so really, what is the application? The user is now able to have an experience of being courtside. And so if you're watching, say, your favorite soccer game or basketball game, the experience that the 5 people here sitting in the front row would be having, just each one is with their own device or on the 2D device, would be different from what somebody else, so million different people would have million different experiences. To give you one concrete example of that, October 2015, so a few months ago, we were at the Kings game, and we were at their, the opening night. 7 o'clock, the game started. It was 7:30 in Mumbai of the following day, the exact same time, at 7:30 in the morning. And when the game started, we had a school with children there already assembled, obviously. We had 4 Oculus Rifts, and we had the kids put on the headset, and they were able to experience the game as if they were sitting right next to Vivek Ranadev, who is a co-founder of the Kings, and who wanted to have this experience. So that's the kind of experience that we are providing in real time, and there are many more layers to this experience, and that's what's one application. The other more traditional application, which again, as I said, there's a big spectrum, and that's what makes it interesting, is some of the applications we have done in the engineering world. I come from a very, very rigorous engineering background. And so what we have done is we have taken CAD models. Those are really the currency of the engineering world in some senses. So we took the CAD models, and we were able to do virtual prototyping. We were able to do virtual assembly. We were able to do simulations. And these, again, really help companies save money, time, go through many iterations. And we had a powerful consortium with John Deere, Caterpillar, Komatsu, Packard, and so on. So these are kind of the different ranges. In that, we are working with engineering models, whereas in VOKE, we are working with actual environments that are their games, and not gaming, but games, sports, I should say, and bringing that in for some very rich and innovative user experience.
Cool. So I'll come back to applications because I'm not convinced yet that we have been able to cover that. There are lots of other things we should talk about in applications. So we'll come back to that. I think I want to move on to, the market opportunity side of things, right? And then let's ask Sanjeev that, because he's already investing or at least looking at the space from many angles, I'm sure. So yeah, let's talk about market opportunity in general, like for VR.
I think virtual is the new real. And if we believe in that as a vision, it's actually going to transform everything we do, personally and professionally. And if you look at it, we as human beings, we already live in a world of illusion. We want to go to Hawaii. Sitting here, some people are thinking about their summer vacation plans for Hawaii. Some people professionally are thinking, hey, when can I fire my boss? And virtual reality technology actually gives you the medium to experience those things in reality right now, right here.
I'm sure there are a lot of other things in their minds.
So this is where virtual and real merge. And at the end of the day, it's all about human perception. Right now, you are perceiving us as panelists and moderator on this stage. We could actually be doing this, and each of us sitting at different places globally. I could be in London, Uma in Delhi, Sanjeev in Tokyo, and Sumit somewhere else. And we could actually experience this together. That is where virtual reality comes in and transforms us as mankind. And it ushers in an era like Uma talked about and Sanjeev talked about as well. It ushers in an era of immersive experiences that we have never seen before. The demos that when the hands raised up saying, hey, I have experienced VR, you have experienced 1% of what VR can actually be. You have experienced demos. You have seen 2-minute videos, 3-minute videos. How many people have actually seen a 1-hour movie in VR today? So that is what I'm talking about. And in terms of what will be the killer app, when will this become real, we can talk about sports, we can talk about entertainment, we can talk about different markets, but I think the day virtual reality becomes cheaper than dating, it will become mainstream. But at the same time, that day, the society is doomed.
Let's tweet that, right? When virtual reality becomes cheaper than dating, it becomes mainstream. I love it. Any numbers you want to throw out?
There are
20,
numbers.
100 billion, something.
You can talk about billions, and I mean, once virtual reality technology starts touching each one of us in this room, the numbers will go through the roof.
Okay. So let's talk about timeline then, right? Because let's assume, right? It's a big opportunity, and I'm also one of the guys who's assuming that. I'm working on a stealth, we are a startup. So what is the timeline then, right? How many have watched, and there are only a few people who have watched the demos, right? Half. There's only one person who has watched, a long movie, right? In terms of the metrics, I don't know, in your case, when you were streaming that game, how many people actually viewed? I don't know if you can share those numbers. But so, in general, right? So what is the timeline we are looking at? And I know it's a lot of gut call here, a lot of estimates, but yeah, throw some light on it. Each one of you, I guess from there on, optimism.
Sure. Just to give you one number, which is not necessarily about VOKE, because I think this panel is not just for me to talk about VOKE, but just overall about the space. April first week was the NCAA game, and so for the semifinals and the finals, VOKE was providing this live streaming of the game, and so we were working with Oculus, and we had again it's hard to know how long were they in it and all of that, but just as a gut feel, like there were 40,000 downloads the first time, NCAA is offering this, there were 40,000 downloads just of that app. And so that's a start. It's just a very first time that this is being introduced. And that is, of course, going to just be the hardcore people who are into this area. But it is definitely, if you look at the 2D aspect of it and just the app that was downloaded, and we had our user controllable aspect in that also, and that was, I believe, about 750 million or something like that. So it just depends on where in the spectrum you're fitting, and our solution, for example, fits in both of these. And also, I think the one key point about the timeline, I think what is so important is the ecosystem. it's so critical that the hardware, software, the content, right? Each one drives the other. It's not as if you hold one constant and then the other catches up. So when there is compelling content, then obviously there will be more demand. And then when there are better headsets, there's going to be more of that impetus. Hey, this is very viable. We're going to have better content. So I think it's going to evolve. And the way we've been seeing, even in this last 1 year, we've been doing VR for 20 years in different forms. But even in this last 1 year, it's just incredible, the interest. And so some of these, I think, just defy any kind of a logical prediction. And some of these are like what they call the black swans. It'll just suddenly take off.
Yeah. And so YouTube launched 360 videos about a year back, March of last year. In 1 year, so when we launched, we also defined a spec for the industry that, if your camera can output in a certain format, it will just work on YouTube and therefore every platform imaginable in the world. Since then, we have seen a tremendous upload volume. The uploaded videos, VR videos on 360 videos on YouTube, they have doubled in past 3 months or quarter or so. When we started, there were
numbers?
just sorry.
Any numbers? Like in terms of how many uploads?
The numbers are, they change all the time. they are just increasing.
I'm not getting anything here.
They are increasing. There is tremendous amount of interest. So when we launched, there were just a few capture devices out there in the market. And now we see increasingly even the big name camera makers actually jumping into and talking to us about what is the format and what's the right way to actually enter in this market. So there is a tremendous amount of interest. We launched 360 live streaming, actually. And there are a number of camera makers who actually are very interested in pushing that. So can't say about the future. Nobody knows about the future. But in the past 1 year or so, we have seen tremendous growth, tremendous interest, and actual dollars being invested into an actual things happening on a very concrete basis.
I think there are some fundamental engineering problems to be solved in virtual reality before it becomes mainstream. People still have motion sickness. The resolution is poor. You have to be tethered to a PC for power consumption, which means battery life consumption. These are just very fundamental engineering problems. And you can almost imagine there are cycles of learning that the VR industry or VR ecosystem has to go through first to solve these fundamental problems, and then the apps, the whole ecosystem around it will develop. So my sense is it's at least 2 years away from becoming mainstream till we can solve these particular problems.
Nice, very first. So we get like our first concrete answers, 2 years. All right. Thank you. So, okay, 2 years, which is actually a good time, right? So if you're an entrepreneur, you start now, right? And actually, I was talking to a friend the other day, and he mentioned, like, anytime the Valley has put so much of, time and money into something, like this, it has almost always worked. I don't know if that's true, but the kind of money and the resources being put into this, I'm hoping that this works, yeah. So.
You never know. When he was saying that, I was thinking of clean tech. A lot of money went into clean tech at some point as well, and that did not work. But but also money solves part of the problem.
Okay, all right, you got me there. So we are running. So opportunities for entrepreneurs, right? Let's just talk about that. We have to rush through all this thing because I've been shown some time limits now. So opportunities for entrepreneurs. Let's okay, 2 each and straight answers kind of a thing, right? Okay,
Yeah, sure. So we see a lot of innovation happening around the ability to video stitch 360 videos. Yeah. So video stitching is a challenge, and video stitching in real time is a challenge. That's a great opportunity, as well as the capture ecosystem. If you just look at the capture ecosystem, there are a number of opportunities there that entrepreneurs.
So in the capture, are you talking about hardware or software? Both?
It's both. Actually, this problem is actually part both, hardware as well as software.
Okay, good. Uma?
I guess if I was to give two challenges, one is that how do you ultimately push this to the consumer in the sense that you have limited bandwidth and you have all those issues. So how do you really make sure that they have the ability to even get that in real time? And if I was to give a second one, I really think that unless we holistically think about the experience, and again, I come from a technology background, but very much understand that unless we make the experience something that appeals, bring that in from day one instead of slapping it on after we've figured out all the technology and everything, it will not take off. So I would say these two are areas where entrepreneurs can definitely make an impact.
Number one is the end user experience. The user should not worry about the technology. It needs to be very seamless for the user. And number two, as an application, I think leveraging video as the underlying theme, we could be watching movies together, sitting in different geographies, but immersed and feeling that we are in a same digital room, for example. I think that's going to be a killer app here.
So Sanjeev, just one last question. So how many do you think you personally will invest, or like from Intel Capital? Sorry, yeah, I mean. We
don't.
Like,
yeah,
is it going to be seed fund? Is it the Series A? I mean, what is the emphasis for you?
Right. So Intel Capital invests around $400 million every year, which is quite large for a venture capital fund. We're one of the largest VC firms in the world. We don't allocate by virtual reality versus XYZ sector, and we look at it more opportunistically. But VR is one of the emerging areas we are heavily investing into. Stage-wise, we are quite agnostic. We invest seeds all the way to late-stage investments.
An estimate, like 5, 1, 10. VR.
If I have to guess, we're probably looking at 5 to 10 investments in virtual reality this year. And since VR is still early, I would say seed Series A.
Perfect. Sounds good. Let's open it up for questions. Yes, please.
Just shout out.
Just shout out. I will shout back.
Give us a little bit of trade-offs, hardware versus software, the price performance point where this will become a really acceptable product where you say, I really want to have it as a consumer. And what are some of the processor speed versus all the software issues involved in it? It's a very broad question, but give me some real answer that in 2 years where I can say that, yeah, this is the product I want to buy, and it gives me the real immersive 3D virtual reality experience.
So I can answer. Okay. I think it is a big and large scope question. It depends on what your interest is in virtual reality. Virtual reality is an enabling technology, a new kind of experience that applies to different kind of sectors. Like gaming is one, video is one, and there could be many commercial aspects also, right? Now, YouTube is democratizing the experience. You just need a $15, maybe even less, cardboard with your existing phone, and you can enjoy, you can dance with the stars. Actually, ABC released Dancing with the Stars video just like this week. And the cameras that can capture 360 videos today range anywhere from, I believe, $350 to a bit expensive ones on the professional sides, but they start at $350. So you could actually today buy a 360 video camera, and you can watch for $15 on your phone VR videos.
Yeah, it's very interesting. In my childhood, there was this thing called Babaji Ka Bioscope, right? This reminds me of that.
We all grew up with that.
We are being asked to this thing. Any one small last question? Last question. Okay. Yeah, you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Reality is not only sight, but obviously another 4 senses. Are there anybody working already on any of the other senses, like smell, like sound, that you feel more than just sound?
So just quickly, so for audio, yes, YouTube already supports spatial audio. So you not only see 360, but you also, the sound also changes as you look around in the video, right? Smell, I don't know.
Maybe we'll
Audio is a big
artificially
part of
use
it, yeah.
Smell, you know.
I mean,
You know,
audio
those-
and VR controls, yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and interestingly, these people have been working on this for 15, 20 years. If you go back and just do just a literature survey, interestingly, like we were in panels and discussions where people have tried to do that. Obviously, it didn't take off that much, but even like a cyber touch, a cyber grasp, you have a lot of those that gives you that tactile feedback, and so yes, there is very interesting work going on in bringing all of those in.
Yeah, there are some haptic technologies.
Nanotechnology is very possible.
I think we have one more panelist just got added.
Yeah. All right. I'd like to thank the panel. Please give them a round of applause.